So now we're going to hear about Boston Teacher Residency, and with us we have Leslie Ryan Miller, who is the Director of Teacher Development and Advancement in the Office of Professional Development in the Boston Public Schools, as well as Jesse Solomon, who's the Executive Director of the Residency Program. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. I just wanted to start with a few words about where this work comes from and place it in a context. And the first is to say that I think as a nation we're attempting to do something unprecedented for our country, which is actually to educate all kids to high levels. And that challenge, if taken seriously, requires a different delivery system. The second is that our vision is that Boston be the first city to fulfill what is one of our basic democratic promises, that every child and every family should have a right to a good seat in a good school. Children and families shouldn't have to get lucky. They shouldn't have to win a lottery. They should be able to walk down the street to a good seat in a good school. And our work is based on the clear and compelling research that says that the quality of a child's teacher is the single largest, at least external to that child, factor in the child's educational attainment. So BPS, the Boston Public Schools, started Boston Teacher Residency 9 years ago in an attempt basically to break up what was a broken pipeline, a broken human capital pipeline of entry of teachers into the city. We weren't getting the teachers we needed. They weren't staying. They weren't coming with the skills and commitment that was required to actually educate all kids to high levels. And our model is basically set up to train teachers basically the way doctors are trained in a residency model. Our participants, called teacher residents, spend a full year in a Boston public school in basically what is clinical training, learning to do the work by doing the work at the elbow of skilled, experienced mentor teachers. They then commit to teach for at least 3 more years in the Boston Public Schools, so they're committing to at least 4 years up front. Since our inception, we've trained just over 400 teachers for the Boston Public Schools. 80% of those teachers are still teaching in the Boston Public Schools, now in our 9th year. When we started, Boston had about a 50% retention rate overall for teachers in 3 years. We've been able to fill a number of high needs areas. Over half of our teachers are teachers of color. A third of them are teaching in special education or ESL. Over half of the secondary teachers are in math and science. When we survey them, 97% of principals say they would hire another BTR graduate. And we are in the midst of undertaking a pretty serious study to try to ascertain the effectiveness, especially as related to student achievement, of these teachers. At the same time, I think residencies have become a national model. We've created a national entity to help other cities start similar residency programs. And over the last few years, about 15 new programs have started, and we've shared our learnings and our materials, et cetera. The Department of Education created a federal grant program called the Teacher Quality Partnership Grant Program that was used to start more residency programs, and we contributed the language describing the residency programs. And we've served as a model for the National Accrediting Agency for Colleges of Teacher Education to move toward a more of a clinical basis. So we've both tried to stay serious about our work in Boston and help other cities do similar work. So I want to turn over to Leslie for a few minutes to talk about the district perspective and the work the district is doing, and then we'll answer questions. Whoa. Whoa. That was exciting. That was for you.
Thank you. So recently,
take your coffee cups off the ledges, please. Thank you. I mean, seriously. Yeah.
So recently, our superintendent, Dr. Carol Johnson, created a new Office of Teacher and Leadership Effectiveness. And as we expand the work to ensure effective teachers across the Boston Public Schools, our goal is to have effective teachers in every classroom, educating children every day. Learning and collaborating with BTR, the Office of Teacher and Leadership Effectiveness, is providing supports for teachers across the district, including a nationally recognized new teacher development program, enhanced professional development offerings such as job-embedded professional development via cross-site visits for teachers to visit the classrooms of exemplary teachers, and teacher leadership opportunities. All of this work is driven by a new performance evaluation that's being implemented in the Boston Public Schools. And with this work, we're implementing a new rubric around effective teaching. One of the critical lessons we've learned from BTR is that we need to be crystal clear about what we expect every teacher to know as they enter the Boston Public Schools, and we need to align our resources to support that work. A huge strength and connection to the Boston Teacher Residency is to define what we think are the core competencies in making an effective teacher. As we define these competencies, the Boston Teacher Residency is able to prepare these teachers using this criteria. They make sure that teachers are aware of these competencies and very versed in them. They provide coursework around the competencies, and most importantly, job-embedded professional development alongside the hands of an experienced, exemplary teacher. So when teachers enter our classrooms, they know what Boston Public Schools expects of them, and they know what the work entails. There is no more important factor in a child's education than that of an effective teacher. In partnership with BTR, we are preparing teachers, supporting teachers throughout their career, and developing structures to share best practices. We're proud to have BTR as a partner, and we fully support their work as we improve educational outcomes for all children in the city of Boston. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
Yeah, just a couple of questions. When do you anticipate that you will complete I understand you've started an evaluation of how the program is impacting student achievement, and I'm wondering what is your anticipation of when you will be able to get some results from that? That's the first part of my question. The second one, in the retention issue, retaining about 80% of the BTR trained, and it was much lower for the non-BTR trained. Has that improved? Has the non-BTR improved as a result of the impetus that the BTR teachers have given to the program? Has there been an improvement in retention?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I won't rain on you. So there are a couple stages to our effectiveness study. We actually expect to be able to have initial value-added results soon. There are a number of caveats around this value-added methodology, which I won't go into right now. Basically, we've looked at about 50 of our graduates in 4th to 8th grade math and English. And the very first results we've seen actually don't show our folks outperforming at year 1, but growing much faster, and by sort of years 4 and 5, doing much better than their counterparts. So I think our strategy was one both about retention and sort of improvement over time. So it's a mixed story, quite honestly, right now. We think it's a good story long term because our people are staying and they're getting better. We've made a number of changes in the program to try to impact that first year thing, because if they should be outperforming, quite honestly, then as well. You want to talk about induction? Because
So we're also still looking at data around our induction practices, but one of the things is we've taken a lot of the lessons learned from the BTR program and expanded those services for our teachers who are non-BTR graduates. And so that's something that we're continuing to do, and getting funding to continue that work to expand services.
I thought this was such an exciting program. I was wondering if any of the teacher colleges come to you and tried to learn from what you've done.
So we have a partnership right now with Wheelock and UMass Boston, and so together we're doing all 3 similar programs. Through this national agency we've created, Urban Teacher Residency United, we've had a number of teacher colleges actually go through our program, which is a sort of year-long sort of replication program. So there have been colleges of education. I would say even more so than particularly replicating residencies has been a move toward clinical practice, which in my mind is the right win. Like, I don't care so much about the name. What you care is teachers, especially going into our hardest to serve schools, are getting the kind of preparation and support they need to do this job well.
So that's been a big change.
Yeah, slow, but coming, yes.
And why is it so slow?
You want me to say this publicly? Yeah.
Do you want to win the award?
Oh, in that case, how much time you got? No, I mean,
I'm kidding.
No. I think when we started, we were seen as a threat. And quite honestly, Tom Payson, who was the superintendent when we started this program, got up there on the first day and said he's trying to compete with colleges of education. So when you get thrown out there as competition, and there's colleges of education have come under a set of criticisms. Let's be honest, they're hard to change, right? The financial model in teacher ed programs is folks coming in, paying tuition, right, which often funds many other things in the College of Education, and going through these programs, which often include student teaching where you're not even taking courses. So you'd actually have to flip that model on its head, and it would largely involve changing the funding mechanism, and it would involve changing the staffing at those places, because you need much more clinical work. So I think if we're actually...
So it would be more expensive.
I'm not sure it would be more expensive. I think you might need either different people or people to do different things, and you might need a different kind of cost structure, because right now it's just people paying tuition to the college, but you might think about a different shared cost structure with school systems.
Thank you.
I've got a question about the value-added results. In the write-up, we read about one evaluation, and I'm not sure if it's the same one you're talking about or whether you were talking about a new one, but looked at student scores on standardized tests and asked the question, do BTR teachers produce better standardized test scores? And in the first few cohorts, the answer was no. Actually, they don't do as well as the other new teachers. Can you tell us more about that, why you think that was, and is this the study where it's turning around in year 4 and 5?
Yes, same study, and it wasn't, just one point is it wasn't the first few cohorts. It was actually looking at teachers in their first year of teaching versus the following teachers into their second, third, and fourth and fifth years. And yes, when our site visitor came, we gave that person a draft copy. So it's the same study. You know, I don't think we fully know. We've chased a lot of targets, right? So what we've tried to do so much in our preparation so far is fill a lot of holes, right? So fill holes teaching special education or ESL or math or science. So what we've gone after is sort of going after high needs areas. And I think my guess is if we had to make a choice from the beginning and just say you want to have strong value added results versus fill the areas that Boston can't hire in, if we made the other choice and if we said we're just going to go out and get the very best people no matter what content area they're in, we probably would have different value added results right now. So I think it's been a strategy to fill these areas. Obviously we would want to change those first year results as well, but that's my short but best guess at the answer to that question.
Thank you.
Why have applications, do you think, leveled off? And are you finding that the quality of the teachers you're recruiting or the residents you're recruiting has stayed stable, has gone up, has gone down?
I think quality's gotten a little better. We've gotten sharper about recruiting, and I think we've gotten sharper about admissions. You know, in addition to applications leveling off, the number of teachers Boston has hired has actually dipped. So we were on this sort of trajectory to get up to preparing about 120 teachers a year, which would have been about 30% of Boston teachers. We got to 80, and then we've sort of stayed constant at 75, mostly because Boston cut its hiring in half. So on a sort of proportional perspective, we're preparing about a third of the teachers right now. So I think probably it's commensurate with that. It's trying to think about sort of how many slots we have in the program is my best guess.
Other questions? If not, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
you.
Very, very impressive.